Hey everybody, how's it going? Kind of a different video for you today. This is a dive site called Orlebar Point here on Gabriola Island that I've been wanting to do for a long time now. Got an invite from a couple local Gabriola divers to come check it out, and I just couldn't say no. Here we are at about 60 feet, dropping over the edge of the wall. And as you can see, there's a long way to go below us here. This is a fairly challenging dive site. Recommended for advanced open water divers only. Like I said, the top of this wall is 60 feet, which is sort of the limit for basic open water. There's additionally boat traffic in this area, as well as strong currents, so you want to ideally come with somebody who has knowledge of the site. Sorry, I had to adjust my camera a bit there. Come with somebody who has knowledge of the site and time the tides correctly so that you don't experience too much current. Having a look over here at the wall, you really get a sense of the scale of the thing. I tried editing this video down a few times just to show you the highlights, but it doesn't really do the dive justice. The allure of this dive is not so much the wildlife, but the size of this wall that you can dive on. You can see Simon here is headed right to the bottom. This is the shallowest section of the wall, at about 100 feet at the bottom. And looking off to the west here, it just gets deeper, 200, 250 feet in some places, so well beyond the limits of recreational scuba. Simon's checking out the bottom there. You can tell he's curious, see what's down there. In front of me here is a crimson anemone. One of two types of crimson anemones in the area. This one's got more of a variegated top and white body. We'll check out the other type in a moment here, but Simon appears to have found something in this crack here. And as I peek in the top to see what he found, you can tell there's a rather large lingcod hanging vertically in this hole. He gives this little bark and disappears. Don't worry, I'll come back and have a look at him later. Looking back up the wall, and you can see the top from here. I notice Aaron's a little bit higher than we are, so I'm just going to have a look and make sure everything's okay. Another look at this crimson anemone. Some sea cucumbers. Right here is a really large black sea star, and a greenling hiding on the shelf here as well. It's really amazing how black those sea stars are. They look like charcoal. See Aaron here is busy phoning. She sort of indicates to me her ears were sticky, but she's good now. I'll look through the cracks here at about 65, 70 feet. And we're headed back down again. I just love the look of this wall here. reminds me of the Chief in Squamish, or some sort of big granite wall that you might see rock climbing on. Again, my apologies, I have to adjust my dry suit valve. There's nothing better than floating weightless next to this giant wall. Now that we're back together, we're sort of zigzagging to the east this time along the wall as we descend. I was sure there was going to be a fish in that crack, but alas, nothing. Some big purple urchin there, but I've only got eyes for the nudibranch. This is not a particularly large example of a giant white Pacific nudibranch. I believe they're also called dory. And this is the other crimson anemone you find in the Pacific Ocean, with the red body and the more pale arms. At this point I see the bottom. Again, we're on the shallowest part of the wall. And there's a tree branch caught up on a rock ledge here, so I decide I'm going to spiral around and have a look under that ledge, see what might be hiding. Can't resist getting the bottom if I can. But once again, we come up empty-handed. Nothing in there today. Now Aaron spotted the same lingcod that Simon spotted from above. This time we get a much better shot of him from the side. The camera does absolutely no justice to the size of this fish. The head on this guy is the same size as my Labrador. Gotta be at least 100 centimeters. What a monster. can see that tree branch below when we hit the bottom a minute ago. And that lingcod decides he's tired of us shining our lights at him, and he gets out of there. And a little yellow nudibranch here. I don't know what his real name is, but that's a yellow nudibranch. At this point, Simon sees a cute little yellow sea star. I hear they make you invincible. Got a big collection of crimson anemone here. Apparently a large garden of white plumose anemone. We don't get a chance to see on this dive, but I do catch a glimpse of them from higher above. We'll definitely come back and see them on another dive. This wall is so big you can not see it all in one dive for sure. It's going to take many trips here. Because of the depth we were at, I've been going through gas fairly quickly, so I decided to hang out at a bit shallower level to conserve some of my gas and see what's up on this ledge. You can see Erin spotted something here. She reaches out to grab Simon. Come check this out. I decide I better go have a look as well. And they're obviously pretty excited about whatever's in this crack. Once again, I decide I'll spiral down. I don't know why I do that, it just feels really cool to spin around as you're going down. And I poke my head in to have a look. And unmistakably is a sucker from a giant Pacific octopus. But since I am getting low on gas, and I just spent 10 or 15 minutes playing with a Pacific octopus in the previous dive, I decided to leave him be and come back and see him another day. Beautiful little rockfish here. Lots of nooks and crannies here to explore. Again, there's no possibility you could see everything in one dive. We're definitely going to be back. And there you get a glimpse, just off in the distance, of the garden of white plumose anemones. They're too deep for us to visit today, but we'll be back with full tanks to see it again. Here's a little preview of what it might look like. Just imagine 100 times more of those. Simon spots a large tube coral here. Thing's so big you could fit your entire arm inside with room to spare. And below is that anemone garden. Can't wait to come see that again. This section of the wall is particularly deep. this point I signal to Simon that I'm at half a tank, and we should probably plan an exit. There's a particularly large barnacle there. Thought I would point out. As we come over the first section of this wall, immediately we start to feel a bit of current. This isn't really the top of the wall, it's more of a shelf. As we continue to ascend, we come up to the next section of wall here. But since we're quite a bit shallower now, the gas consumption is not as big an issue, and we have a little more time to explore. At this point, Simon spotted a rather large scallop in this crack and decides to go in for the harvest. Watch over those urchins, they're pointy. Simon's putting in the work to earn his dinner here. Locally sourced, sustainably harvested seafood right at the front door. Doesn't get any better than that. Just like that, dinner's in the bag, and we continue our way up. Again, I need to open my dry suit dump valve here. Too many hands, not enough hands. As we sort of get over this top section of wall, you can see the visibility really starts to drop off in the warmer top section of the water column. And immediately the current is apparent. Got a little kelp greenling here poking his nose out. I just love the blue camouflage pattern they have. Really cool. And now we come up to the final shallow section at the top of the wall. There's a lot more life here. More little fish, but also quite a bit more current. See, we're having to fight pretty hard to make headway. Definitely have a look at the tide tables and make sure you're diving slack tide here. It was nothing to worry about on this dive, but if you timed it wrong, I could see it being an issue. One last check in all the cracks, make sure we didn't miss anything on the way. At this point we're sort of in the range of safety stop, so it's a good place to have a look around while you're waiting. all in all, this is an amazing dive. If you're a BC native diver, definitely come check out Orlebar Point. I'm sure you've heard of it. This is a fairly well-known dive site, and you can see why people would want to come here. I can't wait to come back and check out some more of this. And yeah, thanks to the Gabriola Dive Club for throwing this together and inviting me along. And the link card comes to say goodbye. Alright guys, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Heck yeah, we lived.
I'm so excited to do that all the time.
Yeah, dude.
We lived!
Anytime we want, we lived.